Right, welcome back. So it's day 5 of the challenge of 30 days. So I was off for 5 days. One of those was for a boardroom for a property thing that I'm involved in. And then yesterday I recorded a video and then ran out of space and then inadvertently deleted it. So not off to the best of starts this week. But anyway, been busy, working hard. One of my lights has just ran out of batteries. And the intention today is to kind of talk about headers. So, how important it is that you actually get your kind of main keywords incorporated into your H1s, your H2s, and your H3s, and obviously get AI to review your setup on the pages that you've got. So, yeah, we're not trying to do is obviously stuff keywords in, so it needs to feel and look organic. But obviously, you want a clear outline. So use your H1, which is your main topic, and then have supporting subsections below the H1. And then H3s are details and subpoints that kind of reiterate and add further weight to the H1 and the H2. So it's about creating something that's readable and what we want to do is obviously keep people on the page for longer, because if they're sticky, then that will improve your rankings rather than having a quick bounce rate. So we've got our AI community on Skool. The link will be in the description of this video. And really, that's what I wanted to talk about initially, and then explain where we've got up to in terms of the site development process. So what we've got, if I just move these over, I'll get this prepared and get my, there we are. So we've got a list of websites. So we've got Hertfordshire Media Network, that's been commenced. Enjoy Hertfordshire has been commenced. So for those that have seen the challenge already, Herts Property Maintenance, Hertfordshire Directory is commenced. Herts Property Maintenance is commenced, and I think that's kind of approaching completion. Hertfordshire Drains is doing pretty well. Groundworks Hertfordshire is actually completed, so that's the first one that's completed. It doesn't have any images in it, so it needs images, but for all intents and purposes, we can deploy that to GitHub. And basically, yeah, that's a live site. So the only question I've got on that is, if inquiries start coming through into it, then what are we going to do with those? So yeah, that's the next one. But basically, that's live. Hertfordshire Locksmith, I think that's taking shape. I've got that on a separate laptop. So basically, what I've done to continue the acceleration of this process is basically I've got my main laptop, which is a MacBook Mini, which keeps on running out of space, which is a complete pain in the backside. And then I've got an old MacBook Pro just down here, which I'm using as well. So I've got various bits and pieces running all at the same time. And the intention, obviously, of that is to accelerate the process and try and get more output for the websites that we're doing. So we've got Hertfordshire Fitness, which I started yesterday. So that's actually building in the background just here. So hertfordshirefitness.co.uk. I can't remember which one it was deploying into, but basically I restarted it and I basically got it to go through. As you can see, I'm using multi-agents with this one. So I basically created a load of agents within Claude Code. And so we've got full stack web developer, front end architect, UX design specialist, QA test engineer, and project manager. So there's like 12 or 13 different of these sub agents that I've built. And as you can see, it's a premium fitness directory for Hertfordshire. And yeah, I'd be interested to see, have we actually got... Yeah, so it's basically building a sprint process. So foundation, monetization, payment integration, business dashboard, subscription system. And then we've got advanced search, mobile optimization, booking system. So it's basically churning its way through all of this stuff. So Sprint 2 is completed. So we're now up to Sprint 3 is completed actually, or is in, sorry, Sprint 3 is in progress. So that I like that way of using sprints. I just find that what I end up with is better, and then it allocates tasks to different sub agents as well. So yeah, that's the way that I'm using that. Um, this is asking for playwright. So this is what I tried to do with this, and this was what I basically covered in yesterday's video, but obviously it failed. Was a WordPress website, and here you go, you can actually see it, right? That's popped up quite quickly. So I've built this in WordPress, so it has a back end, and basically what we've got here is all of the location pages. There's obviously no visuals, but actually the structure of it looks pretty good, and I'm pretty impressed with how this is looking. So yeah, you've got all the service locations and all the other bits and pieces that this will come with. So yeah, it's pretty neat. And yeah, just trying out different techniques. This is a kind of fork of income stream surfers off YouTube. It's a fork of Hamish's GitHub repository. He was trying to do it as a directory structure, and I wasn't wanting to do it as a directory structure, but kind of adapted what he generated. So I think it's quite an interesting approach. And obviously, if we can get high quality WordPress websites built really quickly, they're pretty good, because then what you can do alongside them is implement kind of external triggers to post content. So you can use pieces of software like ZimWriter and other API-based posting, so that you get new content on these websites, which reinforces the pages for, especially for local sites. So yeah, that one's moving along. Right, so this is now done. This is StAlbansDecorators.com. So it has reached the limit, and I'll ask it, can you launch the site so I can view it? So this is just, as you can see, it's got stuck. So it's building the contact and portfolio pages and building about the About Us pages. So it's going to npm run dev. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, so we'll get that one launched, see what's going on here, because it's supposed to be HTML and CSS and JavaScript. We're trying not to use dependencies. So yeah, it is installing dependencies, which was not this is completely not the problem is, so you can obviously create amazing sites with Next.js with lots of dependencies, right? That, you know, that the output and the quality of those is absolutely second to none. The problem is that as the software evolves, things break, and actually launching them, in my experience, takes quite a long time. So you end up with all these depreciated things, as you can see here. So it's you end up with depreciated assets and programs that no longer work. So I personally just want HTML. Now it'd be interesting to see, I'm just going to look on my other screen, if St Albans Decorators, see, it hasn't, as far as I can see. Let's see if this works. Right, so we do have a site here, but it's got no CSS or styling on it. So what I'll do is, if I go back, we'll cancel that. I thought that this was a lightweight HTML, CSS and JS website. Why do we need to launch the server like that? I've also just opened one of the pages, and the styling is all over the place. Please resolve. Right, so what we're trying to do is basically remind it that we want very lightweight, fast sites. And obviously, yeah, it hasn't actually hasn't actually done that. So yeah, this should be a simple that can be openly decorated. Let me fix the styling issues and simplify everything. Right, so hopefully it's gonna now actually do what we want. So right, yes, we'll give that a yes. And obviously our Hertfordshire Fitness one is ongoing. The CSS paths are pointing to CSS, but the actual files are in source. So it's basically a routing issue that it needs to overcome. So yes, they're the ones that I'm kind of working on today. Weddings Hertfordshire as well. We commenced that one happening in Hertfordshire. We haven't done any of these at the moment. So this little block here, we haven't done any of those. What I have done though is St Albans Decorators. So we've commenced this one, and St Albans Driveways is commenced. Oh no, sorry, we closed that down. So one of the challenges with doing this is if you're in this instance, I came across a local company that was called St Albans Driveways, and they weren't very happy with me. So I just said, look, no problem. I've got hundreds of websites, not an issue. So I suspended it. What I might do with that is actually, we'll think about that one, whether we do anything with it or not. Because, anyway. So St Albans Fencing, this is commenced. And then what I've also commenced is Stevenage Solar. Okay, and was there any others? St Albans Fencing commenced, Stevenage Solar, and the Locksmith one. Okay, so yeah, there we are. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, that's where we've got to in terms of the progress. And we've got, obviously varying states of build. What I'm testing actually is using, this looks pretty interesting. So what is Stitch with Google? So I've dedicated specification for a lead generation website for St Albans Fencing. So let's have a look and see what it has done. I don't actually know how you view it. So the designs have been generated. How do I... I mean, it's quite nice. It's just a bit bland, isn't it? It doesn't really have any kind of design functionality that makes it pop. So yeah, it's always good to try different things, because sometimes, like for example, if you got this to a decent level, this was a one-shot prompt, right? I just given it a one-shot prompt, but it looks okay. It doesn't have any kind of functionality that we'd want. It's not consistent. It's all right. It's all right. I mean, yeah, it's okay. So, this kind of stuff is obviously quite good. Why that's white, that's dark background, I don't really know. And it's come up with all the kind of various pages. It hasn't done location pages. So I think that this does not meet design brief. Please revisit. It needs to be consistent throughout. Because what you could potentially end up with is a kind of nice template thing. So everyone's going on about this Stitch thing from Google, because effectively what they're saying is a bit like Figma. So you can basically use this a bit like Figma. I'm not convinced. So we got light and dark backgrounds. There's no animations. It looks bland. Right, so that's what he's asking me. Anyway, look, I always think it's good to kind of trial these things out because you never know, right? This might be completely amazing. So what's it going to do now? I've never used this before, so yeah, I heard somebody talk about it, so I thought I'd give it a trial and see what it came up with. So yeah, that's firing on. In the meantime, right, so this has got a bit complicated. So St Albans Decorators has got overly complicated. Right, so this is now building the WordPress site, hopefully. What else have we got here? So I ran out of tokens on this because I had 3 of these running with 3 lots of sub-agents. So it's, yeah, that is something to really bear in mind if you're trying to run multiple projects. And to be honest, this is partly why I basically added in the second version of Claude Code to maximize the output, because I just found that it was a bit like, yeah, I was running out all the time. So, and particularly if you're doing, we've got multiple things running, which we need to have if we're going to achieve the objective of 30 sites in 30 days, right? So, yeah. So in the Skool community, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was asking the question around how we're going to go and scrape details. I'll do a full video on that tomorrow, of the scraping process. So yeah, that should be an interesting one. And we'll basically build the scraper, set it up, and hopefully get it running. So it might be a bit of a longer form video, but yeah, hopefully that'll be useful. But yeah, as you can see, we're making progress. I found some more sites that I owned already. So yeah, we've got Watford Driveways, Watford Fencing, Watford Painters and Decorators, Watford Solar. So what I'm going to intend to do is basically begin to link all this stuff together. Once we've got the kind of architecture of the sites built, and they're fully in process, then we will basically give it a good go at. So on my other laptop, it's saying St Albans Fencing is done, so please launch the site for review. And what I'll do is, if it does work, is stick it on GitHub and Netlify. So what we'll probably do with the sites as they start taking shape, particularly for the Groundworks one, I don't want npm, I want a simple launch. It is a HTML site, so we should not need complicated elements. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is basically get these to launch really simply, because when you get into npm install, npm run dev, it can make it complicated. So hopefully what this is going to do is launch the site on here, and then we can potentially, let's have a look at it. You won't be able to see this obviously because it's on a different computer, but what we could potentially do is get it deployed onto GitHub. Right, so it's on server 8080. Right, let's have a look. It's always interesting because sometimes it does quite a good job, and then other times it just completely drops the ball and there's no formatting. Well, this one looks right, Yeah. So what I'll do, let me see if I can. What I'll do is I'll create a new repository in my GitHub account. So we'll do that live. So new, and that's St Albans. Let's see. Okay. Right, I'm going to need to email it to myself. For some reason, I can't send from one of my MacBooks to the one of the computers to the other, so I'll just ping that over. Okay, so deploy to GitHub here. And this is what I'm going to start doing. So basically what we do is we deploy them to GitHub. Once it's deployed to the GitHub, then we will basically deploy them to Netlify, as it's a really quick way of just getting them live. So it's going to add all the files. Let's see if it does this. Initialize Git repository. Yeah, using master as the name for the initial branch. Right, so hopefully that's beginning to do that. Right, so what have we got here? Stevenage Solar. Launch the site. HTML. Okay. But the point of this is to show that we can do this incredibly quickly. Right, do I wish to proceed? Yes. So I'm doing the GitHub deployment. It's going to launch it. No, that's not going to work. Use a random port. That won't work. Okay, right, let's see if this is deployed. And if you've never done this before, so what's going on with this deployment? Yes. Yes. Right, so it's just, hopefully this is going to deploy in a minute. It's just going through the process as we speak. No, I don't want it on 3000. Use a random number, not 3000. Okay, so obviously we're now beginning to get to the point of, if we look in Netlify, just to show you some of the examples of sites that we've actually built. Yes. So this one, Heart Shutters, was the first one. So obviously what we want, this needs some images dropping into it, right? But it's pretty much there. It looks nice. It's got, these kind of bento cards. You've got kind of, yeah, obviously we can't have these. We talked about this before, but the basic architecture, this bit looks shit still. It needs fixing, but the basic architecture is there. So what I was gonna start doing is using Google's new image generation tool as a potential means of creating the images that I need. So yeah, I was gonna try that out. It looks, I've tried it on something this morning. It looks pretty good. So pretty happy with that so far. Right, let's see if this one has deployed. No, not yet. What's going on with it? Git push, yes. Device not configured. Right, could not read the username for GitHub. We'll probably have to pause on that one just for today, but I'll get that set up. I've got it set up on my main computer, but not on my laptop at the moment. So yeah, I just need to set up GitHub. Since it's required, you'll need to deploy how provide the credentials to. Okay, so we'll get an answer on that. But as you can see, we're beginning to get to the point that we can have kind of 5 or 6 of these sites up and running, and because of the process, the way that we're doing it. Ooh, right, let's have a look at this. So this is St Albans decorators, which I've built using the same PRD as always. What did it say? Where do we need to go? Double click on index. Okay, so the header's a bit messed up. Yeah, so I don't know why it does this skip to main content thing. It's a bit weird. Right, so what I've been doing, I found this go full page. Where's it gone? There we go. Right. So what this does is it basically captures the full screen. So rather than having to try and figure out what's what, so what I then do is download that as a document. That then comes up over there. I then pop that into Claude Code. The styling looks off. The header needs fixing. Bit more work to do, right? So because Claude Code has the ability to review a image, so what we can then do is basically get it to, it will then review the image that we've just, so it needs significant fixes. Let me improve the CSS to properly style the header layout and overall design. So this is one that, I don't know what time I started it, but it was earlier on today, and I just kind of did the PRD. Here's the PRD, and then I asked it to create a file for that, and then create sprints and a process for it. So it's just kind of been running in the background, right? So it ran out of, so it created it and then ran out. So it's using Sonnet, which is fine. And then it actually ran out for about an hour. So I had some lunch and then it started again. So, so that's now going to hopefully fix this. Let me see if the site is running. So what's this? That's I'm trying to get it to build 37 locations. So obviously these sites which I'm doing with bigger locations is more difficult. So to be honest, what I'm trying to do is do a series of kind of single town sites as well. I'll create a personal access token. The system can't prompt for credentials. Right, personal access token. I won't do that online. Don't want to reveal my credentials, but as you can see, where we're getting to is we should be able to kind of, it's a shame that header's in the way, you know, because I think that one actually looks pretty good. Obviously, we don't have any visuals on it, but I just wonder, was there... Right, so the pages aren't actually built, right? It quite often does this. So it kind of says it's ready, and then it isn't. It's just like lies. Yeah, the location pages aren't built yet, so we'll shut that down for the time being. Yeah, so as you can see, that is a way of getting it moving. Right, what I'll do is I'll just pull this over and personal access token. Just going to do that in here. Personal access tokens. Okay. Right, so click on that, then click settings. In the left sidebar, click developer settings. Down the left sidebar. Okay, developer settings. Okay, found developer settings, personal access tokens, fine grain tokens, generate new token, confirm it's me. Probably not very exciting for you guys, but I'm going to call this MacBook Pro. Obviously, you don't want it to expire. Permission. Read only. So we want it to give it all permissions. Okay, I'm just sorting this out now. Okay, generate token. Right. Okay, so I've added that token in there, so hopefully we can... These crypto sheets, guys, Jesus Christ, they've been a bit of a pain in the arse. Okay, so, right, let's see if it will work now. It'd be good to get that one deployed just so you can see another example. And then let's see what's going on here with these ones that are building. Right, now look more professional. Let's have a look. No. The header's still fucked. The header is still displaying properly. Please fix again. Okay, so let's have a look at this Stevenage solar one. See how that's coming along. Ooh. Ooh. It's kind of simple. I don't know if the design's good enough. It's too much text. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, so not convinced that the design It's like a wall of text needs breaking up. Please revisit EPRD. Right, so that's, I mean, it's half a site, right? That's the reality. Okay, what we got going on here then? Let's get back into this. Okay, playwright. So this is basically evaluating what's going on here. This is carrying on. It's building the town page system for Hertfordshire Fitness. Yeah, this is it, right? So we'll do some more. One thing that I did yesterday, which I haven't done, is gone through the process of the PRD. I'll do that tomorrow. I don't want to do that today, so I'll do that one tomorrow. So you can, or potentially Monday actually, because it's a little bit of time. However, what I have done is I've included within the Skool community. Let's have a look to show you exactly what we've been doing. So in the classroom, here's the design brief, right, that I give it. And then here's the product requirements document. Okay, it's really simple. So that's not spelled correctly. Let's sort that out. Output. And that's it. And I would include the description for what the website's going to do in the location. So yeah, they're in the classroom. How many are we up to in the community now? We've got 7 members, right? So that's including me, so 6 others. So what we're going to be doing is start adding a bit more velocity into this as we progress. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. Anyway, that's all for today. Hopefully that was a good update for you, just to see a bit more behind the scenes of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how it works, etc. Let's have a look at this one final time. It's saying it's fixed it. What do you reckon? What's your money on? Oh, that didn't work. Nope. Oh, it needs a forward slash at the beginning, doesn't it? Let's have a look, see if it works. Ooh! I mean, it's all over the place, but you can see where the direction is going to be. And this is the thing, for quite a long time, I couldn't see this kind of visual thing of how that was actually going to progress into a real site. But as you get more and more used to it, it becomes, actually you can see it. So yeah, there's a bit of work to do with this one, but you know, give it another bit of feedback, say, you know, the styling is still not right for the page, see attached, but it has potential. Remember the PRD, we want this to be very high quality. Okay, there we go. So once that's downloaded, we'll save this file, ping that over there, drop that in there, chuck that in there, bang, there you go. Very good. Right, hopefully that was useful. Have a good day, keep on pushing on, and let's try and get these 30 websites done. That from me is over and out. Laters.